Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving deep into a fascinating breakthrough in the world of tech and geopolitics. Russia has just taken another major step toward total semiconductor independence by developing two brand new electron-beam lithography prototypes capable of hitting 150 nanometers. In this video, we'll break down how this maskless technology works, why 150 nanometers is far more important for defense and industry than you might think, and where these mystery machines are being shipped 2,000 kilometers away. Stick around until the very end, because Russia's official roadmap for complete tech sovereignty reveals some surprising moves you definitely don't want to miss. Russia has achieved another major milestone in its quest to establish an autonomous semiconductor manufacturing ecosystem. Two electron-beam lithography system prototypes have been developed by the Zelenograd Nanotechnology Center, or ZNTC. These machines are capable of fabricating structures with a design rule of 150 nanometers. The equipment has entered an extensive testing phase that is expected to last for approximately 4 months. Subsequently, it will be transferred to an undisclosed facility located approximately 2,000 kilometers from Moscow. The prototype's existence was disclosed in transportation tender documents, which lead to their public disclosure. However, their ultimate destination has not been disclosed by officials. The project is one of Russia's major advances in semiconductor manufacturing equipment, since the country intensified its efforts to reduce its reliance on imported fabrication technology in response to international sanctions. To truly understand why this shift is happening, we need to take a look at how this technique differs from standard chipmaking. The new Russian system, which is commonly known as electron-beam lithography, or EBL, is a departure from the traditional optical photolithography that is used in mass semiconductor production. The machine employs a finely focused beam of electrons to write semiconductor layouts directly onto a resist-coated substrate, rather than projecting circuit patterns through costly photomasks. This approach is maskless and provides unparalleled adaptability. Here at Altitude Addicts, we always love breaking down these complex tech pivots, and engineers can reduce development costs and abbreviate design cycles by digitally modifying chip designs without needing to produce new photomasks. According to the project documentation, the equipment is capable of directly patterning silicon and other substrates, as well as manufacturing photomasks without the need for conventional masks. The development is a component of Russia's overarching scientific and technological development initiative, which is designed to restore domestic competencies throughout the semiconductor production chain. Now, you might be asking yourself why anyone is making a big deal out of a node size from decades ago. Although 150 nanometers technology may appear outdated in comparison to cutting-edge commercial processes that are measured in single-digit nanometers, it is still highly relevant for a variety of industrial applications. A wide variety of integrated circuits, including those used in aerospace, defense systems, industrial automation, automotive electronics, railway infrastructure, medical equipment, power management, and communication systems, continue to depend on mature process nodes. These applications prioritize predictable performance, long-term reliability, radiation resistance, and reduced manufacturing costs over maximum transistor density. Mature manufacturing technologies are intentionally used in many military and space-grade electronics due to their extensive qualification over decades of operation. Look, when you're shooting a rocket into space, you care way more that the chip actually works than if it's super tiny and fragile. In these sectors, the strategic value of achieving domestic production capability may be greater than the pursuit of the smallest available transistor dimensions. This brings us right into how these specific tools are tailored for low-volume, high-value tasks. Electron-beam lithography is particularly effective in situations where design flexibility is crucial, despite the relatively low production volumes. EBL is notably advantageous for research laboratories, prototype development, custom integrated circuits, and specialized semiconductor devices, as opposed to the production of millions of identical chips. Without the necessity of producing a new set of photomasks, which are among the most costly components of conventional chip production, each design modification can be implemented immediately. We are just getting into the heart of this strategy, so don't go anywhere. Coming up, we're going to look at the severe physical speed limits of e-beam technology, the mystery location where these prototypes are heading, and Russia's full roadmap leading up to 2027. This renders the technology particularly appealing for research and development programs, university laboratories, experimental semiconductor fabrication, defense electronics, and spacecraft components, where production batches may consist of only dozens or hundreds of chips. But it is crucial to recognize what e-beam can and cannot do. Electron-beam lithography is not intended to replace conventional photolithography in large commercial fabrication plants, despite its advantages. Speed is the primary constraint. Through the use of projection optics, optical lithography is capable of rapidly producing thousands of chips by simultaneously exposing an entire wafer pattern. The writing process is significantly slowed by electron beam systems, which instead trace circuit patterns point by point. As a result, despite the fact that EBL provides unparalleled precision and adaptability, it is unable to compete economically with optical lithography in the production of millions of processors or smartphone chips. If you're enjoying this deep dive, make sure to hit subscribe to Altitude Addicts for more breakdown videos like this. Subsequently, it improves conventional fabrication by catering to applications where customization exceeds production speed. This e-beam system isn't standing alone. It is actually just one piece of a much larger puzzle. One component of ZNTC's semiconductor equipment strategy is the new 150-nanometer electron beam system. The company has also initiated commercial deliveries of Russia's first 350-nanometer projection photolithography system that was domestically developed within the past year. In 2027, executives of the company intend to implement a 130-nanometer projection exposure system, in addition to the ongoing research and development of inspection equipment that can identify surface defects as small as 45 nanometers. The roadmap also includes the development of a clustered photolithography production line for submicron deep ultraviolet fabrication on 200mm silicon wafers. Russia appears to be incrementally rebuilding manufacturing capability, beginning with mature semiconductor technologies that remain commercially and strategically important, rather than attempting to leap directly into advanced EUV lithography. Before any of these systems hit the line, though, they have to survive a brutal gauntlet of testing. The two prototype systems are currently undertaking comprehensive qualification testing, as per ZNTC General Director Anatoly Kovalev. Before the machines are transferred to their operational site, engineers will conduct additional tests that concentrate on image accuracy, overlay precision, and other critical technological parameters in the wake of these initial evaluations. Stay tuned right here because we're wrapping up with the big picture. Up next, we're dissecting the mysterious 2,000-kilometer transport location and what this whole saga means for global semiconductor sovereignty. The equipment will be transported approximately 2,000 kilometers from Zelenograd, as indicated by the transportation documents. However, the receiving organization and the purpose of the installation have not been publicly disclosed. The emergence of Russia's domestic electron beam lithography platform is indicative of a more comprehensive strategy to rehabilitate indigenous semiconductor manufacturing capabilities at various phases of the production process. Although the system is not designed to compete with the most sophisticated commercial EUV machines used by the most prominent global foundries, it is designed to cater to a distinct market segment that prioritizes technological independence rapid prototyping, and flexibility over manufacturing production throughput. As testing progresses over the coming months, the successful deployment of these systems would represent another step in Russia's long-term effort to establish a more self-reliant semiconductor ecosystem capable of supporting both civilian and strategic industries. Here at Altitude Addicts, we'll keep tracking these tech shifts as they unfold. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. We thank the people who have liked and shared the videos and subscribed to the channel. We also thank the people who have hyped the videos